Thanks for joining us for Jaunts with Mercy, the Grand Village Part 2, or the Indian Mounds Remnants of the Nephilim. We will look at scripture from the Bible, the Book of Enoch, and still follow up on the points Mr. Marzulli makes in his series on the Trail of the Nephilim, or Nephilim. And our disclaimer is this information is our opinion based on our own research. We would encourage everyone to research for themselves to draw your own conclusions. The picture begins to emerge of the Natchez being slightly different from other Native American tribes, or more closely aligned with the beliefs of the Egyptians and other more ancient civilizations. Who worshiped the sun? According to Britannica.com, under sun worship, the worshippers of the sun were associated with the Egyptians, Indo-Europeans, and Mesoamericans. What did these people have in common? They were part of a well-developed urban civilizations that believed the sun is the bestower of light. It's the all-seeing eye that illuminates or enlightens you with wisdom. That is direct teachings of the mystery schools of Babylon, by the way. And what does all of that sound like? Is that a coincidence? The qualities of the sun are central to any elite religious group, elite being the choice word here. And another great question is, why is human sacrifice usually associated with those who worship the sun or solar deities? Let's look at the Mesoamericans. According to Britannica.com, are indigenous cultures throughout Mexico, Central America, and into North America, which are some of the Native American tribes we are referring to. Who were the Star People, according to most Native American tribes? Legends of the Star People by Montana Pioneer says, quote, other native legends, including those of the Lakota, speak not necessarily of star people, but of mysterious beings coming from above, we are told, as spheres of light that in turn abduct children, a reference to which we will return, and that corresponds eerily to popular folklore about alien abductions and breeding programs, close quote. This quote sounds strangely similar to the occult and what they do. Abducting, kidnapping children, breeding programs, sex cults, things along that line. According to Wikipedia, star people means extraterrestrial or New Age beliefs. How are the two combined in one answer? And interestingly, J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis both wrote of star people in their writings, The Sundering of Elves and the Chronicles of Narnia. The Lakota refer to star people as, quote, spirits of the old ones who once walked the earth, who offer comfort and guidance, close quote. According to peopleonfire.com, the Creek legend goes that, quote, beings have been coming down from the sky since ancient times. Most that visited the Creek motherland looked very much like humans, but very tall, from 7 to 8 feet tall. The tall visitors chose the ancestors of the Creeks as their allies on Earth. They married our people. The children from the visitors' women were the tallest of the mixed offspring, close quote. Doesn't that sound like what is being described in the Book of Enoch and the Bible as the Nephilim? Here we can go on to 1 Chronicles and even 2 Samuel, Daniel, and Deuteronomy. All of these mention the fallen angels and or the Nephilim in the Bible. 2 Samuel 21:20. And there was still another battle at Gath, where there was a man of great stature with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. He too was descended from Rapha. And when he taunted Israel, Jonathan, the son of David's brother, Shimei, killed him. So these 4 descendants of Rapha and Gath fell at the hands of David and his servants. The Creek legend goes on to say, quote, "The mixed offspring were wise and became our leaders and taught us about the universe." Close quote. Yes, that sounds like the fallen angels. Worldwide, other names for the star people are angels, sky ancestors, and ascended masters. Other cultures that mention star people, according to ForgottenOrigins.com, are the Elk Balaam, which means dark star or hidden star. Interestingly, the winged angel on the left has an oblong skull like the Nephilim. The Mayans called them star people. These angels are perched above the doorway to the underworld. You enter the underworld through the mouth of the serpent. This goes on to Pakal, which equals a great mystery. He was allegedly a giant with 6 fingers and toes on each hand and foot. He also had a cone-shaped skull. He is rumored to have come from the stars. His mother came from the stars in a flying craft, and he married his half-sister to preserve the bloodline. And it's Pakal, P-A-K-A-L. Who does that sound like? Incest to protect the bloodline. Performance of pain ceremonies with bloodletting and self-mutilation or self-sacrificing with suicidal tendencies. Pakal constructed the Temple of Inscriptions in Palenque, Mexico. The tomb of the Red Queen, which is the wife of Pakal, had an oblong skull also, and legend goes the oblong skull beings were leaders and teachers of humanity. They mastered architecture, medicine, agriculture, flight, telepathy, and spirituality. Once again, all of these are the same descriptions that are used in the Book of Enoch as well as in the Bible. Jude, the whole book of Jude, goes into better detail with this as well. The forbidden knowledge of the fallen angels is described exactly the same way as the star people of the Mesoamericans. Is that coincidental? It is clear that there is so much more to this than what we've been told. And after touring Natchez and looking at the map of Natchez, we started to see a pattern of a city within a city. We could clearly see the advanced math or geometry involved in the construction of all the mounds we visited so far. And yes, we do plan to tour more mounds in the future. With each story I researched the similarities between the Bible, the Book of Enoch, and the oral traditions of the Native Americans with regards to the Nephilim and the fallen angels becomes very obvious. After much discussion and seeing this in person, On the Trail of the Nephilim series by Mr. Marzulli brings up very valid points that deserve looking into, with there being more to the Indian mounds than what we know, and there are definitely more questions than answers. It also becomes clear that these ancient civilizations had access to technologies the same as we see now. How do you think the pyramids were really built? The Nazca lines? I mean, one theory could be giants are capable of moving a lot of things, large and heavy things that would seem immovable to an average man. And what about all the references are in plain sight regarding giants? Okay, for instance, green giant, Gulliver's Travels, superheroes like the Hulk, Superman, Jack and the Beanstalk. All of these refer to the Nephilim. So we've been exposed to these stories pretty much all along. What are other references to giants? And it's not just that, but what about all the advanced mathematics that we know have been used and are clearly obvious when you look at the mounds? There is also supernatural events that are associated with the mounds that are not so easily explained. Even the Native Americans claim that the mounds are still sacred and they are still used for ritual ceremonies. When we look at the map of Natchez, it becomes easy to see how the mounds played a part in the city planning of Natchez. Even by their own admission, more than a dozen mound groups are located within a 25-mile radius of Emerald Mound. And so let's look at the map again. Emerald Mound being the Chief's Mound or epicenter, Foster's Mound, the second mound, and the Grand Village, with the rest of the mounds being scattered in between. And one whole complete side of Natchez is the Mississippi River. You can see how the leader mounds are on the edge, allowing them to see not only who's coming, but who's going. Being on the river also allowed for transportation and ease of getting goods and or supplies. You can see how the city was built around these existing mounds, almost like a city within a city. And where have we heard that before? That is very occultic language that is being used. All of these similarities come together with all of this, which paints a very different picture than what we have been led to believe. And you have to ask yourself, at what point is it mathematically impossible? You decide. I decide. We all decide through researching our history anew with a fresh pair of eyes, not looking at the narrative that we have been told, but at looking at the clues that have been left surrounding what we have been told, so that we can draw more accurately a better analysis of what our history really is.